Do we have all the council on here?
I think everybody's on.
Is Sue on here? Or? I've never seen it as Susan, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I see her name, but that's it.
I don't think she's on yet.
Here she comes.
She is.
All right. There we are. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, October 18th City Council meeting via Zoom. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Alderman Santee,
Here.
Alderman Glad,
Here.
Alderman McClatchy,
Here.
Alderman Harding,
Here. Here.
Alderman Devine,
Here.
Alderwoman Miller.
Here.
Sorry, my audio cut out. Alderman Strack,
Here.
Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic
To the republic
which
it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Getting started with public comment. This is the opportunity for any of the public to get on and have your 3 minutes to give a public comment to the city council and myself. So at this point, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and yeah, anyone out there would like to make a public comment, go ahead. Last chance for public comment. Okay, we're moving on to the consent agendas. Item is 5A through 5G. Is there any items that the council would like to pull for separate consideration? See none. Looking for a motion and a second to approve 5A through 5G. Alderman McClatchy,
Yes, I would move to approve the consent agenda.
thank you. Second. Alderman Miller,
I'll second.
thank you. Any discussion on these items? Alderman Santee.
Quick comment on 5B. It's just, we're very fortunate to get a great price on that paving for Knox Park. I appreciate seeing that and came in way below budget. And it's great to move forward on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? See none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yeah.
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is individual action item 6A is motion to approve a Class A liquor license to Margarita's Restaurant Bar Incorporated located at 2314 West Illinois Route 120 and subject to the approval, a motion to approve and ordinance amending the limitation of the number of Class A liquor licenses. This individual did pass the background check. And he plans to open, I believe, this Wednesday, unless some things have changed, but that is the plan. So I would ask for a motion in a second to approve item 6A as presented. Alderman Santee,
I'll make the motion to approve item 6A for that Class A liquor license. Restaurant bar located at 2314 West Illinois Route 120 as presented.
thank you. Second. Alderman Miller,
I'll second that.
thank you. Open it up for discussion by council. Alderman Santee, go ahead.
I don't know if the applicant is on the Zoom, but or someone from staff. Do we have any type of tentative opening date? What they're looking at, maybe 30 days, 90 days or whatever?
Wednesday, this Wednesday.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, their marquee says October 20th. So
That's fantastic.
Any other questions by council? All right, moving to public comment. Is there anyone from the public that'd like to make a public comment regarding 6A? See none? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee,
Yes,
Alderwoman Miller,
yes,
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Evening, Council, next item on the agenda, 6B, is a motion to approve a Class C liquor license to Thornton's LLC DBA Thornton's number 344, located at 2128 West Illinois Route 120, and subject to the approval, a motion to approve an ordinance amending the limitation of the number of Class C liquor licenses. Obviously, you all know the huge development that's going on Chapel Hill 120. It's massive, but I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve 6B as presented. Alderman Strack.
Motion to approve 6B as presented.
Thank you. Second. Alderwoman Miller.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion by council on this item. Alderman Glenn, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to mention the fact that this was pretty much hammered out in an annexation agreement years ago, and I believe there'll be more liquor licenses and video gaming that'll be coming forward as this development prospers. Am I not right?
That's correct. Any other questions by council? See none. Public input, public comment for 6B. Anyone have any public comment regarding this item? See none. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes,
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderman Santee,
yes,
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Harding.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6C is a motion to approve an ordinance granting zoning variations to allow a rear yard setback of 18 feet 2 inches in lieu of the required 25 feet, and to allow an interior side setback of 4 feet 7 inches in lieu of the required 6 foot of the for the property located at 3719 West Friend Avenue. Where is he? Director Palarecki, go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor. So the owners of the subject property at 3719 West Friend are requesting approval of 2 zoning variations, as the mayor just read, to accommodate the construction of a new single-family residence. It's a variance to allow a rear yard setback of 18.2 feet in lieu of the required 25, and a variance to allow an interior side yard setback of 4.7 in lieu of the required 6. The applicants are online if you have questions for them or staff. I will say that when our zoning ordinance was established, this subdivision was already built, and the majority of the homes in this subdivision do already encroach. And also that the owners of this property had bought this property and tore down what was a very dilapidated structure and are looking to rebuild within reason. So when I say within reason, it's size, it'll fit within the neighborhood. So they are online if you have questions, and that's it.
Thank you, Ross. All right. I am looking for a motion and a second to approve 6C as presented. Alderman Glenn,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it.
thank you. Second, Alderman Santee.
I'll second the motion.
All right, discussion by council. See none. Public comment regarding 6C. See none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman Santee,
Yes,
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
yes,
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6D and 6E. So what we're going to do is do those items together. Technically, 6E should have went before 6D, but we're just going to go ahead and do these items together. 6D is a motion to approve an ordinance granting a use variation to allow a body art establishment in the C5 Highway Commercial District for the property located at 4801 West Illinois Route 120. And 6E is a motion to approve an ordinance adopting zoning text amendments to Chapter 9 Commercial Districts Permitted and Conditional Uses to allow body art establishments in the C4 Downtown Commercial District and C5 Highway Commercial District. Director Palarecki.
Yeah, so just to clarify on that, we did let the applicant know that we were looking to change via text amendment the body art requirements. He chose to move forward because he didn't know the outcome, obviously, of what was going to happen with the text amendments. So, the applicant did appear before the Planning and Zoning Commission for the 4801 West Illinois Route 120 site and was recommended approval to the City Council. So the applicant is on the line if there's questions to be had. But he's looking to open a body art establishment at 4801 West Illinois Route 120.
Thank you, Ross. Any comments by council? Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, considering you dumped the two together, staff got anything to say about the amendment to the zoning ordinance?
Does staff have anything to say?
Well, who's presenting it?
Yeah, so with the amendments, we researched towns around us to see what they did with tattoo or body art establishments. Most of them are allowed uses in their commercial districts. So we went ahead and given the history of the two establishments we have in town, we have no issues. We saw no reason why we should regulate them. We thought they should be an allowed use in our C4 and C5 highway districts.
Which means that if somebody comes in to get a occupancy for one of these businesses, they can just open it up without coming to council, correct?
That's correct. It would be an allowed use.
Yeah. See, and that's where I have a problem because in this case, with the petitioner, it doesn't seem like anybody had any problems with it, but in the past, I know with certain variances that come once in a while, we have residents that don't see something right in their neighborhood, and they do come back and go to either the planning and zoning or else they come to council. In this case, if we change this ordinance, then the business opens up and the residents that live right around it don't even know it's going to happen until it's done. They call the city to complain, and of course all the city's going to tell them is, well, it's within our ordinances, they have every right to open up there, and that's it. And it doesn't matter whether they call their alderman or talk to the city council. We've already given them the ability to just open up, and I just feel more comfortable if we were to leave that as a variance as we have done in the past. Because, I mean, it's C4 or C5. I mean, that means it could go into a lot of different areas that we're not.
Can I just ask Alderman Glab, what would be the reasoning for not being an allowed use?
Right. Easy. If we have a couple of residents that show up and do not want that in their neighborhood, if nothing else, it may spark something in the city council to look at it a little deeper. And it gives the right of the residents in this town to be aware of what's happening and to be able to voice their opinion at a meeting before it happens. After it happens, it's an after the fact. So why would we fuel on a fire if somebody doesn't want to see that in their neighborhood? At least they have the ability to come to either the council meeting or the planning and zoning meeting to bring up their objections. And that's the way we've always done it, and it's always seemed to work.
So, but I'm confused. Is it because it's a tattoo shop? Is it the stigma of a tattoo shop?
It could be, yeah.
So if somebody didn't want a thrift store next to them, they don't have the opportunity to come to city council and check that.
Allowed use, Ross.
Right.
It's an allowed use right now. If somebody bought their house 30 years ago, that thrift shop had an allowed use. If somebody bought their house yesterday, okay, that property that, let's say that we're looking at approving tonight, if they moved in the back and they did the research and they found out what could possibly go there, and you might have somebody in another C4, C5 that's been there for 35 years and would have never dreamt that a tattoo shop would have been there. Now, maybe 95% of the residents don't care, but how do you know? You don't give the chance. I just feel that tattoo shops have always been a controversial type business for the residents, and I think to some extent we should keep that as a special use and something that has to come to council, something that gives the residents time to at least comment on it. I'm sure there's several aldermen out there that can remember that they heard from residents about other uses that were conditional uses, and why would we allow them to speak up and know what's going on before it happens?
I'll just say, we did our research on it, and other communities have gone to this allowed use in similar zoning districts. So that's why we brought it before you. But can we concentrate on item D first? Because item D is these are not together. Item D is the use variation to allow the body art establishment at a specific address. And then we can go into the discussion about the text amendments after that.
Well, I can understand that, but the mayor already dumped both of them together. So if we're going to keep them separate, let's separate them then. Then let's what you suggested. I feel that's how we had it in the first place. Let's forget about E for right now. Let's go to D. Let's finish that, and then we can go to E afterwards. Mayor, you're the one that brought it forward.
We're gonna go as one item.
Are you fine with that?
We're just gonna keep it as one.
I'm totally lost.
David, hold
Okay, so let's, you gotta turn yours off.
Right.
No, I mean, yeah, I think you gotta mute yourself. So let's break them apart. Can we have the second withdraw a second and the first withdraw the first? Start over again.
I don't think there's a motion, is there?
No, just why, I can't hear it very well. Just have both withdraw.
There's no motion,
There's
David.
no motion.
Otherwise, we'll go through parliamentary. Okay,
All right, so we'll go ahead and separate
take
them.
them in order.
Okay, do E first or D?
D.
All right, so
D.
we'll go with that. Okay. I know D's before E. I was just clarifying because he said E goes before D. So, all right, so go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance granting a use variation to allow a body art establishment in the C5 Highway Commercial District at 4801 West Illinois 120.
Thank you, sir. Second, Alderman Strack.
Second that motion.
Thank you. Discussion by council.
We have a lot of feedback on your,
I'll
thanks, David.
Alderman Glad, go ahead.
Yeah, I have no problem stating the fact that through comments that residents have made to other aldermen and that aldermen have brought up and everything else, I have never been in favor pretty much of tattoo shops in the city. However, if we are going to have one, I've got to admit this is a pretty decent location for it. And I talked to Ross about some other problems as far as ingress, egress over there and everything else that he promised me would get taken care of. So.
Any other comments? Alderman Santee, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, with the petitioner, I know it, I believe I read appointment only. Do you plan on having any kind of established hours, weekends or evenings or anything?
He is a
Hey,
call-in.
Oh,
Hey, Rob. So, Jose, you gotta hit, I think it's *6 to unmute
There you go.
or *9 to unmute. I forgot. It's one of the two. I think it's *6.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Monty, can you unmute him?
Oh,
No, he's good.
Okay,
No, he's a
okay.
call-in.
oh, there we go.
Yeah. How you doing? Discussing the alderman's concerns. I work for Lincoln Hills Elementary School, so as far as the appointment only, it will stick to appointment only because I am there every day until about 5:30. So as far as hours go, the hours are limited. This isn't going to be a all day, every day tattoo shop. I'm here to more compliment the community and let them know that there's someone that's just going to cater to what they want, not just here, let's pick something off the wall and get tattooed, because I understand the whole stigma of what the alderman was saying. And I'm not here to bring in any, I guess, taboo or anybody. I'm here to serve the community. So, I mean, as far as the hours go during the week, it will be anywhere between 5:30 and 9:30 because, again, I work for Lincoln Hills Elementary and I'm not trying to stay up all night to tattoo anybody. This is more for people that are serious about what they want, who know what they want, who understand that that appointments and hours are strict. This isn't for, and I understand, like the alderman said, people aren't moving in there because they want, they wouldn't have bought the house if they thought that this was going to be going on. But this isn't just everybody. This is me serving the community, and again, bringing actual art, not a biker town or whatever, because I'm not introducing it to anyone else other than to the people in the community. So as far as the hours go, they are set in stone. There is no, I'm going to come in whenever I feel, and I'm going to come in drunk, or I'm going to come in whenever, this is, for adults who understand what timing is and know that, reasonable hours for establishments to be open and to close at certain times. This isn't just for anybody and everybody to have a good time and, do their thing. This is for actual serious adults who understand that.
Perfect.
okay. Thank you, Jose. And just real quickly, a staff question. Is there any other businesses in that building today?
What's that?
Anybody have knowledge of that?
Yeah, there's Fitzgerald Realty. Who's
Okay.
the owner?
He is the only one that's in there right now.
Fitzgerald.
Yes, Fitzgerald,
All right.
Fitzgerald Realty and Insurance Company.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, staff. No further questions.
Any other questions from council? Alderman Glad, go ahead.
Yeah, I know the petitioner felt that, we were talking about residents that might not want it. Just for clarification, I looked at the planning and zoning meeting, and there was nobody, as far as the residents there, that had any complaints. So it's not anything directed towards your proposal. But the thing is I know they're talking just signage in the windows, but that doesn't mean that the petitioner couldn't ask for a marquee afterwards, correct?
That's correct. He would be allowed any signage under the C5 zoning district, which would be a wall sign or part of the marquee or freestanding sign.
I would feel more comfortable. I mean, I like the proposal the way it's written, but the way that the motion is, I would like to see if we could put that on the motion as far as adding that there would be no outside signage other than the front windows, just as what's being proposed, rather than.
Why would that be?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
David, hey, David, hold on, Jose. David, can we put a restriction on signage like that if we allow it? Is it a freedom of speech thing? Just curious.
You can put it on for a variance.
For a variance, you can.
I don't understand why we wouldn't allow signage for a business to be successful. I don't know.
So, and I'm the maker of the motion, and I would not add that to
Yeah.
the motion.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other questions, comments by council? All right, public comment. Is there any public comment for 6D?
Yeah, this is Jose. I was just wanted to comment that, I mean, I'm trying to compliment the community, and I wouldn't see why, I'm, like I told everybody at the zoning meeting, I'm old school. Before internet, it was word of mouth. When you get word of mouth, it's because people actually believe in you, or people actually want to down talk you. And I have never been down talked, and I've never been, even on social media, have I not been, you know, slandered. I've always presented the most professional manner, my art. I'm not here to do those lick 'em and stick 'em. This isn't that whole bring in 20 Navy guys that are drunk and doing all this stuff. This is actual art, and, you know, I understand the alderman's concern, you know, and this is exactly why I phoned in, to make sure that every question is answered. There is no, I want to make sure that that it's clear that I'm not here to bring any type of, or present any type of taboo style, you know, tattoo. This is me serving the community of McHenry, not me advertising all over the country to every biker gang and everybody that is a night goer, because at the same time, yes, I have known and have tattooed plenty of policemen, firefighters, lawyers who ride motorcycles. I have tattooed nurses, male nurses, nurses assistants, everybody that works sometimes first and second, you know. So I'm not bringing any, I'm not working or planning or plotting to bring any negativity. I'm here to serve the community. That's just what I want to make clear.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and ask for a roll call. Trish, you want to go ahead and do a roll call?
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
No,
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item is 6E. That's the motion to approve an ordinance adopting zoning text amendments to Chapter 9, Commercial Districts Permitted and Conditional Uses to allow body art establishments in the C4 Downtown Commercial District and C5 Highway Commercial District. I am looking for a motion and a second to approve 6E as presented. Alderman Strack,
I'll make the motion for 6E as presented.
thank you. Second, Alderman Harding,
I second that motion.
thank you. Discussion by council. Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Yeah, this just gives a bad taste in my mouth that we can do this. I would be more comfortable to find different ways, like the sewer plant that we're going to sell. I mean, that's a lot of money right there we could put towards this. Let's save up for, let's not just ask people to pay more for the sewer because we want to do something.
You're on the wrong item. We're on 6E.
don't put your foot in your throat.
Your mouth.
We're on 6E, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
Nope,
Guess
you're
I'll have
right.
to talk next time.
All right. So any comment by council on 6E? Alderman Miller, go ahead.
I think C4 and C5 are the right places for body art establishments, as well as other creative places. Our C5, of course, is our highway commercial district. So big roads may back up to residential, but if you do, obviously, you know that there's a highway out there and the obvious place for commercial activity. C4, our downtown area, is very mixed. And literally, to Alderman Glab's point, if you're buying a residence in that area, you can look around and see the buildings that are there and which ones are being used as commercial properties and which ones aren't. So when I looked at this and looked at the paperwork involved, I think C4 and C5 are the appropriate places to have alternative use commercial districts, such as a body art establishment. So I'm very much in favor of the motion to do the text amendment.
Any other comments by council? Alderman Glad?
Yeah, I just tend to wonder how many would just prefer to let the gentlemen's clubs and everything else just wind up to be appropriate uses just to fill a building. And again, we're just, to me, it isn't just taking the authority of the council away, but it's also taking and pissing our residents the fact that if a business like that comes into a area to where they have been living all these years, to take and allow this use to where they have nothing to say about it. And that disturbs me.
Thank you. Any other council have any questions, comments? Public comment regarding 6E. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment? See none?
This
Clerk,
is
can you
me.
please call the roll?
This is Jose again. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
Yes.
I completely understand, and I completely understand where Alderman Glad is coming from, because I've tattooed in Algonquin for many years, and it was the first shop to be actually open in Algonquin, proudly and successfully, and I completely understand, because now there is more shops allowed in Algonquin where there are people with a complete lack of knowledge and understanding of tattooing, because tattooing is a skin science. And Alderman Glad, I'd like to thank you for bringing that up, because I don't feel that we should be bringing up just anybody into any shop yet, whether it be anywhere. I mean, there should definitely be more what's the word? It should be eyed, it should be watched. And again, if I didn't feel comfortable or have the confidence in knowing the knowledge that I have, because in Lake County, before in Algonquin, I was tattooing in Lake County. In Illinois, there was no ordinance, there was no health department, there was no anything in the health department of Illinois or Lake County for tattooing, and we have abided by every law, everything in Illinois and cross country, and established with a Association of Professional Tattooists, the APT, and you can Google it. It's a worldwide association. We have complied with everything, and that's why in Lake County they actually wrote the book on sterilization, on guidelines and everything with our shop, and that was in 2013. You can Google it. We even came out in the newspaper. I completely understand where he's coming from, and I in part agree with what he says as far as not allowing just anybody in there, but at the same time, I'm gonna just like I said, I feel confident in the knowledge and the professionalship that I bring to the community. I understand where he's coming from as far as, okay, if somebody didn't want the stigma of a tattoo shop and all that stuff, but this isn't just a lick 'em and stick 'em. We're having a bunch of, and I understand there was a bunch of whole drunks in the Navy or the Army or the Air Force, and I have definitely had my share of veterans in my family and veterans that I have proudly tattooed, and actually feel that they actually have a shop that is catering to them, who actually cares, not hurry up and take my money.
I just want to say, I think you have support. It's not you in general, and it's one council member. I think you have the support. So let's just go ahead and go for a vote, and No, but I appreciate you looking in the city of McHenry and appreciate you doing business here. So let's go ahead and do a roll call if you don't mind, Trish. Trisha, you can go ahead and do roll call.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry,
No,
guys.
you're good.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
No,
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
No.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Thank you, council. All right, good luck to your new establishment. If you need anything, reach out to us, all right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Alderman and Alderwoman.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is 6F is a motion to approve an ordinance on updating section 9-2C-5B and 9-4B-1F of the City of McHenry Municipal Code in order to reduce debt service fees associated with the Westwater WWTP consolidation project and increase water and sewer base fees. Director Strange, you want to go ahead and present this?
Thank you, Mayor Jett. So as by now you are all aware, this is a revision to our municipal code for our water and sewer user rates. In short, we are reducing the debt service fee for the wastewater treatment plant by $5. The sewer bi-monthly base fee is going to increase from 4 to 7, and the water bi-monthly base fee is going to increase from 2 to 8. And the overall net increase between existing base fees and existing debt service fees as existing to proposed is $4. It's worth noting, I've had a few questions today. That is specific to people who are on both water and sewer, which are representative of the majority of the residents of our community. So we seek your concurrence with the ordinance code revision.
You try. All right, I am looking for a motion and a second to approve 6F. Alderman Strack,
I'd like to make that motion to approve 6F as presented.
thank you. Second? Alderman Miller,
I'll make that second.
thank you. Discussion by council on this item. Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to apologize. I thought the last two were combined. So I guess I'll repeat myself. Troy, I got a question for you. When we have a main break, we do that all in-house, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And like I stated before, I just think we should find ways to fund this and to make it happen. I think there's a lot of good things in there, but the argument that if we don't do it today, 2 years, 10 years from now, it's going to cost more. Yeah, but we don't ask people to buy new cars because it's going to cost more down the road. I just think the principle of us raising them just because we can is just not a good thing.
Alderman Glenn.
yeah, just so we know the history on this whole thing, and let's dissect it a little, and that's the fact that in essence, we've kind of overcharged our residents over several years as far as the debt service, which helped escalate the amount that we're paying off on it to where the rates are being able to be dropped by $5. That's going to be dropped no matter what. So in essence, what we are doing is we are really increasing not $4, but the water and sewer users wind up paying $9 more for water and sewer. And the water users $6 and just only sewer users $3. People that have the sewer system, they're going to see a drop in their total bill by $1 or $2, and others will see the increase in the $4. But in essence, they don't see the $9 that actually is what we are voting on tonight to increase, because the debt service, that $5 would be coming off anyway, or should be. But again, just so that everybody's aware and everybody understands that we're not just increasing the rates by $4. We're actually increasing them by $9, and $6 on the water and $3 on just the sewer user. So just wanted to clarify that, and I agree with Alderman McClatchy. And I am the one that feels that, yes, our infrastructure is weak and it needs to be repaired and everything else. But can we do these projects a little at a time instead of all at once? We're going to be collecting it before we're anywhere near ready probably to do some of them.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Alderman Santee, go ahead.
Yeah, Troy, just to clarify, I mean, this is, when I look at the program here, we're looking at projects that are going to begin in the next fiscal year, or the fiscal year after that, 2022 or 23.
FY 22-23. There are actually a few projects that we may, depending upon where we think we're at operationally, we may actually put in front of you prior to the start of the fiscal year.
Okay.
One of them being well 2 aquifer rehab, which is scheduled for 2022. But based upon the production of that well, we may have to do that maintenance treatment sooner to meet our high demand season starting in June, July of this year.
Okay, and then there's how many items are in 2023?
Looks like we got 6 items. Take that back. We got 10. We have
Okay.
we have,
I mean,
yes,
my
23, we have,
go ahead.
we're gonna have an annual sewer lining program. We're gonna have the first of the water main replacement projects, couple equipment replacements, pump control upgrades at one of our lift stations, and then
Okay, well, I mean, my point being is that, yeah, we are going to start on this, and this is a continual program through, according to your spreadsheet here, 2031. And it's quite a large project, and the years that we're doing it on. I don't know if a program or a project like this will ever decrease in size, but I would have to say that at some point in the very near future, maybe within the first 4 or 5 years, we open this up and take a look and see how we're doing, and see how the costs. We're going to see the costs every year, how they're coming in, but they're not going to get any better. And I'm stealing a line from Alderwoman Miller from a couple of weeks ago or a month ago that I think. Me being on the council for many years, that we have, this is some projects that probably should have not been kicked down the road as far as they have. And if we could put a program like this together with that type of commitment, I'm willing to move forward on it. It's a huge project, but I don't see it getting any smaller in the near future. I just see potentially where we may come back and have to do more work at earlier years if some of our systems, our older systems, break down sooner than the dates that we have tentatively projected for that area of town. Thank you.
Alderman Glad, go ahead.
Hey, Troy, did we have any thoughts of special service areas for some of these projects? You talk about adding extra lines across over to the east side of the river because staff feels that would be a much more efficient and healthier design, I guess, from what has been going on for all these years. Although we haven't had any problems, luckily we could have had some if the system had gone down, cracked or whatever, and then you've got something to switch to. However, should some of those costs be borne by everybody? I mean, I take a look at some of the areas that are whether it's my ward or further west, and a lot of new developments south that are going to be paying for a lot of these sewer linings and everything else, as well as these sewers going across the river. Have we looked at possibly that maybe special service areas down the road that we'd be looking at? And again, I understand it can be quite burdensome as far as how many different SSAs you'd wind up out there. But for some of the larger projects, maybe that we should be looking at that.
We have not really looked at SSAs. That's something, this program really, our recommendation as staff is that it benefits the city as a whole. The sewer lining stuff, you could possibly assign to a specific area. Most of those, the clay sewers we're talking about, are in the old parts of town. And then as far as that water main crossing, that's a redundancy issue and a risk issue that we would like to take care of. One of the things we prioritized in this program, this 10-year program, is improving our redundancy and reducing some of our risks. We've got 4 lift stations that do not have on-site generator backup. We have 2 water plants that do not have on-site generator backup. And then that Fox River crossing, just the one, having just the one, we do believe is a risk. So that's redundancy, and controlling risk is something that we prioritized in this 10-year program.
All right. Any other council comments? I'm going to open up for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that'd like to make a public comment regarding 6F? See none. Trish, you mind doing roll call?
Okay, Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy, Alderman Glad,
No.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item is 7A, is a Riverwalk update and direction. Director Hobson, you want to go ahead and get us started here?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm actually going to turn it right over to John Smith, the Riverwalk Foundation president.
Perfect. John, how are you, sir?
There we go. Now you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Good. Thank you so much for having me. This is, I've probably had hundreds of presentations in my career, and I'm not used to this, so bear with me. There's so much enthusiasm and passion I have for this, and it's going to be hard to kind of interject it into this presentation, I think, just because I'm going to try to cut it way back, I decided. What an incredible year for the Riverwalk and for the city of McHenry overall. What a couple, and when we look at what we've accomplished, it's absolutely amazing. I live on the Riverwalk now. I live in the townhouses. I live right next to the pedestrian bridge, and I have a new appreciation, because I moved in about a year and a half ago, of what's really taking place on the Riverwalk, which is just an endless amount of people walking on the Riverwalk, and with all the festivals and music festivals we've had, and all the gatherings and just the functions down there. I mean, we really have something special happening in the city of McHenry, and I'm sure you guys all understand that. I look at the Riverwalk as kind of a spine that, it's like the city of McHenry's spine that holds all of this together. It's interesting that it's over 20 years ago. It's probably 21 or right at 20 years ago. I was trying to reminisce about it, but there were a couple of us that would go to breakfast, and we would scribble out on napkins and try to decide. There was an economic development commission at that time. I think there probably still is. But we tried to decide what could we do to possibly improve economic development in the city of McHenry. And we came up with this Riverwalk idea, really based upon what Naperville had done. And now when I sit on my back patio and I see endless amount of people walking by saying, and out of towners, tourists coming up and saying, this is beautiful. We didn't know this was here. What a fantastic facility. I watch boats just constantly, go downtown, towards Green Street. Unfortunately, right now, they're turning around and coming back because we don't have enough parking spaces. But this is a major tourism economic development engine, and I'm sure you guys all realize that. So I'll spare you those words, and but I just get really excited and passionate about it. I just want to thank the city of McHenry, first of all, because you guys and your staff and the council and everybody involved have always been very receiving of everything that we've proposed to do and work together with us on this site. I can't thank you guys enough for doing that with us, and as a joint. Whoops, I'm sorry. Did I do something there? Are we still okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So it's as you recall, last I can't remember, it's probably 2 months ago or so, we came to you for a request for $14,500 to get 80% plans completed to do what we're calling phase 3, which is basically Riverside Drive from the Route 120 bridge all the way to Weber Park. And that was approved. We did receive those plans, and we also received the cost estimate for that. So now I'm going to try to, hopefully I can do this. I'm going to try to share my screen, and I'm going to try to get to the right screen. Okay, can you guys see the spreadsheet?
Nope.
You cannot.
Not yet.
Does it take a minute sometimes?
Not usually.
Let me drag it over to the main screen. Hold on.
Wayne, who's running the meeting?
Monty.
Does Monty give him permission for John to be able to share his screen?
He should be able to share his screen. I've got it open, ready to go.
Can you see it now?
No.
No.
All right, then I'm moving back to my second screen. I apologize, you guys. Like I said, okay, so I'm going to go to share screen. We'll go to, okay, how about now?
No.
Oh, boy.
There we go.
There you go.
Very good, sir.
Good, okay. All right, so now I got to get used to what's happening on here. I see a few.
So your spreadsheet is up.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to, everybody can see it clearly, I hope. I'm going to point to a few different key areas here. So we did do the 80% plans, and we did receive back a cost estimate based upon that. And that is right over here where I am highlighting that. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So call it $1.7 million roughly to undertake that project. Combined with that, well, that project is 700 over here. I took the lineal footage of the project, which is 765 feet. It's interesting because it doesn't seem like that much, that many feet, but it's interesting that it cost $1.7 million. Even to me, who's been around these public improvements for so long. But when we compare them to projects, the first 2 phases of all of the Riverwalk facilities that we have done to date, we have dramatically come in less than those costs, and I'll explain to you briefly in a minute here. The total engineering fee, whoops, don't lose that. Okay, total engineering fee as quoted and is $72,728 for the entire project. Now,
and that's to take us from 80% to 100% construction, correct, John?
Pardon?
That's to take us from 80%, which we're at right now, engineering wise,
yes,
to
thank you,
100% to be able to bid out and actually construct the portions.
That's correct. Thank you for clarifying that, because I skipped over that. That is correct. So that 72,000 also though included construction management, construction inspection, payouts, and everything of that matter. Now, in the first few phases, in fact, of all of the Riverwalk to date, I have done that personally as a professional engineer, and I've done it at no cost to the city, so, or to the residents or anybody else. So that number is a high number, and I would expect that to probably be closer to the $50,000 range. But nevertheless, I left it in this spreadsheet to make sure we could see approximately where we are on this whole issue here. So is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. So I have these lineal footages here. So for instance, Bomberg is the hotel. So they are 181 feet of that 765 feet, or 23% roughly. Wagner Boat Company is only 93 feet. Arcos, which owns everything from the Wagner Boat Company to Pearl Street, is 183 feet. Pearl Street, that is just the Pearl Street right of way. And I broke that out for a specific reason. And also in this engineering fee is included, and this is the problem with doing a presentation like this, included, I would have pictures if I was before you. There's a lot of work that needs, I shouldn't say a lot of work, but there are some issues underneath the Pearl Street Bridge as far as the concrete slope wall and some pipes and so on that need to be taken care of before we would construct a Riverwalk through there. I've had good discussions with Troy. Troy's well aware of that. And nevertheless, I did include that in this overall cost. So in that engineering fee was also the work under Pearl Street. So that's another area that we may not, depending on how the city wants to handle that we may not have to utilize. And then from the Pearl Street all the way to Weber Park, 222 feet, or 29%, the largest part of all. So where does that take us? So the issue is, once again now, is where is the momentum and where is the buy-in? Right now, we have 100% buy-in from all four owners north of Pearl Street, and that includes the new owner. I've talked to this person already. I've been meeting with most of these people anywhere up from 5 to 10 times over the last year or so, but that includes the new owner of Grinders, which he told me was public knowledge. All four of those owners have signed off and are 100% on board and are ready to go. And for instance, after the Fox talked about how excited they were and they would like to put in private piers of their own, same thing held true for the new owner of Grinders. He asked me about, who are the contractors available to put piers in, private piers for him and so on. So
John, I think that's a key point. I just wanted to, I don't mean to jump in and interrupt you, but I think when you have, not only do you have the business owners buy-in, but they're willing to invest private funds to improve their docks and piers that would attach to the proposed Riverwalk in that section. So that's they're not asking for any money from us, only for us to be able to put in our walk, and then they'll improve theirs to match up to ours. That's an important fact. That's very important. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, don't just butt in anytime. It's fine. And I didn't mean that facetiously either. The properties, Bomberg, Wagner, and Arcos, they're excited about it, and they just have a few little pieces of real estate they're moving around. So I didn't get a complete, signed buy-in from them yet. But nevertheless, in fact, Arcos is interested in putting in his own private pier system. He has actually core permits to do that. So the key
There
is
are some logistic issues in that as well that we still have to deal with on our end, namely what we want to do with any power lines in that area.
Right.
So logistically, that's a little bit longer process.
Right. So right now we have the north of Pearl Street, 4 owners. So we have from Weber Park to Pearl Street. The construction cost estimate is $435,000 for that section. The engineering fee is 29,804. So concentrate on those two numbers in the green. And this 29,804, I'm going to explain to you why that is a higher number. If you look at the rest of them, they're relatively cheap as far as the engineering fees go. But what we decided to do, and by we, I'm talking about Bill and Pat Gorniak, who's basically run these projects, the Riverwalk projects over the past 20 years or whatever the case may be. And we worked very well as a team together, and we decided the best way to handle this is to break this down dramatically into very specific bid packages. And what I'm speaking of, for instance, we would have one bid document that would be strictly for the docks, the piers, and the seawall work. And one of the reasons we did that is because we know of 3 really good contractors that we have had experience, all small contractors, all local contractors. In fact, I think they're all from McHenry, that we could get 3 bids from. And the key is, by breaking it down like that, that pier contractor and seawall contractor does not have to go out and get electrical bids, concrete bids, railing bids, and things like that. The general contractor will add in 5 or 10% for their subcontractors. So by breaking this down, we have in the past, it's a proven fact, we've saved a lot of money, especially on Miller Point. We broke that down, and we saved a lot of money by breaking it into pieces. And the reason I'm telling you this is this $29,000 is higher than all of the rest up here, only because the engineering consultant has to prepare a number of sheets that will be duplicated, sheets of plans that'll be duplicated for the rest of these 4 projects here. So they'll be used multiple times over and over again, but nevertheless, to get the first start going, we need to have all of those documents completed. There's specification booklets and things like that nature, but they will not have to repeat that on future work. So where does that take us? We're looking at what we'd like to do, and what we're requesting tonight is that, first of all, the city council, this is an actual proposal that I do have in front of me. You guys do not have a copy of it. I apologize for that. It's for final engineering for these 4 owners north of Pearl Street, 29,804. And the construction cost is $435. Those added together is $465. So now if you look down in this line down here, we're saying in budget year 21-22, which is next, which would allow us to start work immediately on these plans. And immediately is an important issue. I think everybody's aware, we've heard it so many times, of the supply chain. We have some major issues with the supply chain right now. We're using a product called lumber rock now, which is a much sturdier form of Riverwalk material. It's actually got cement in it and rock type material instead of like a Trex decking. It looks just like Trex decking, but it's much sturdier. So, but the ability to get a hold of this, we've talked to our peer contractors already, and they are already trying to order materials for next year. So the key is to get the final engineering done right here, 29,804, so we can go to bid as soon as possible. And then hopefully next spring, we can jump right away into construction of this $435,000. So for the budget year of 21-22, we're asking you tonight to consider, or at your next meeting, or however you handle this, to allocate of the TIF funds that we have available, $465,000. I would highly recommend that we just round that off to $500,000. we have a couple of things in mind because of the money that we feel we will save on this. For instance, Weber Park, I haven't mentioned. But if you notice on Weber Park, this orange box right here, $30,000 is the cost of the current, is it a 10 boat slip dock that we
Yes.
just put in? 10 slip, okay.
Yes.
We're thinking of maybe we could even put another one of those in at Weber Park in order to allow more public parking, in order to allow more access to Riverside Drive. And I'm also well aware of things that are happening on Riverside Drive at the town club, for instance, and you look at Munson's, and I know for a fact that there's a lot of potential going on at Vicky's and things of that nature. This could be the most incredible area, I mean, in McHenry County easily, as this progresses. And what we want to do is give this an avenue for it to progress. It could be one of the biggest economic pieces in the area. Economic development, I should have said, I apologize. So that is the request for this evening. And then the second request is, let's make sure we keep in mind that in 2022, 2023 budget, that we still have another, say, 1.3 or $4 million that we would like to include if the TIF allows us to do that, and if the city council allows us to do that. So we're looking for a total of 1.75, but only right now at this point approval of first of all the 29,804. That's step one. Step one. I'm sorry. So we can get those plans and go to bid. We will then know the cost after we get the bid, and then we'll weigh that against this 435 to see exactly where we stand. But we have no reason to believe that we will be greater than that. We think that's a very conservative number. So with that, oh, and I wanted to mention, we broke out these plans into concrete work, landscape work, electrical work. So the electrical will be separate. We'll go to, say, the three local McHenry, or there's two McHenry electrical contractors. Another one we have in mind too that's been very responsive to our work. And also, then we would also have, I mentioned the dock pier seawall contractor, and then the fifth would be the railings, would be an entirely separate contractor. So myself and Bill and Pat would coordinate all of this, so all of this work gets done at the same time, and we've been very successful in that in the past. And with that, I will leave it for any questions you may have.
All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate all you do for the Riverwalk. I know sometimes it's a thankless job, but you know, I personally thank you, and I believe the council does too, and staff. So thank you. Can you unshare your screen so I can see everyone on the Zoom call? There you go. Perfect. Thank you, John. All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions by council, whether it's to John or staff. That's easy. All right. So I did meet with John and Bill, what was it, a week ago or so, regarding this. I know we're always asking for money for the Riverwalk or whatever the case may be. I think we know what this Riverwalk could be. There is a lot of action, like John was saying, on Riverside Drive. There's a couple restaurants that are going to be turning hands, that are going to be possibly more aggressive and bringing new clientele into our downtown area for Riverside Drive. So, you know, obviously this is a hot spot. I think we all know that. So I'd like to see if we got the support to move forward, at least bring this back to council for a vote to provide $500,000 out of the TIF. And obviously Bill Hobson can explain the TIF funds and all that. But I would like to see us kind of move forward in this area, just because we do have the buy-in, which is very difficult to do at times. So, Bill,
Yeah, Mayor, I'll just add that especially the connection to Weber Park, especially at this point, is a huge advantage to us in that it's a parcel that we control, that we can put in public boat slips. We only have really two spots on the Fox River itself that we can do that and tie into downtown. I think we've done a pretty good job of that at Miller Point. We certainly could add another finger out there at Miller Point for some additional slips. But the only other spot that we have on the Fox River itself is Weber Park. If you've been down there and seen the pier structure that we put in, it really turned out, just really happy with that contractor and the performance of that. But tying that nice park into our downtown and pulling people off the river has been one of the goals from the onset, is to get people off. And right now, there's not a lot of spots for them to be able to do that. So while we can work out some of the logistics of the other part, this connection here with 4 owners that are all on board, and a relatively, I shouldn't say easy, but a relatively less difficult build, we'll say, that is certainly manageable in the form, especially with us acting as our own general contractors. I think, having John on board is just a huge asset to the city and to this project. And as he mentioned, I don't need to restate it, but I will. We only look at the 2 phases that we've done, and that's been Riverwalk dollars up to that point. Almost $1 million investment, both on Miller Point and next to Miller's Dream Marine. They did that, and they stepped forward in a time when our TIF balance was in the negative from other projects that we'd accomplished. We're at that point now where our TIF balance is in the positive and continues to be in the positive because of the steps that you as City Council has made over the years, and because of the market recovery. So we're at that point where the TIF balance at this moment is estimated at $719,000. Bringing in, and Carolyn, don't hold me to this, please, but bringing in a roughly $500,000 a year at this point for public improvements, whether that's incentives that go towards the developers or specific developments, or public improvements that we have to implement downtown. And as John said, I couldn't agree more. This is the spine that holds a lot of it together. So for us to be able to add linear footage when we're in a position to do so, I think is a great opportunity for us to move forward.
Thank you, Bill. Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Yeah, I've said this before. Cities would die to have a river run right down the middle of their town. I mean, and we're doing the right thing. John is right on as far as all the people that are coming out, and I can see it just getting better. So I don't know if you're looking for a motion, but I'm totally on board with this.
Just to support, so we can bring it back, just to poll, to see where everyone stands on this. Alderman Devine, go ahead.
Yeah, I echo Alderman McClatchy. It's something, it's great for our town, and we need to continue this. So I'm all in 100% support.
Thank you. Alderman Strack.
I don't think there's any question where I stand. I'm probably at Miller Point more often than anybody realizes. Between Veterans Park and Miller Point, I've spent my last 2 summers every Thursday night and out at the Sundays and Saturday evenings at the globe lightings. I'm down there constantly. So obviously, sitting as a real estate broker in town and exposing more people to it, it absolutely makes sense that we invest in what's here to draw tax revenue to this community and help our downtown businesses thrive. That's what we need to do. So I don't think there's ever any question that's my vote on that side of the fence. Thank you.
And Sean, you've been doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I second that. Any other council members? Alderman Harding?
Yeah, it's a slam dunk. I've always appreciated Mr. Smith's vision, his foresight of the city, and let's roll with it. Let's go forward. There's no question.
Thank you. Alderman Santee?
Thank you, Mayor. It's nothing new for me. I've been a big supporter of this probably since, I don't know, maybe after I was elected the first time back in 06, 07. But I do remember sitting in the audience when I think Kit and Mr. Newman and other people on the board came forward. And I know my predecessor, Alderman Bolger, really pushed like heck to get this thing going. And I know he's watching over it right now, and he's got a big smile. I'm ready to move forward. It's nice to get the TIF report. I think we have some funds going now. I look forward to doing this first section and it would be a fantastic achievement for the city of McHenry. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Alderman Glad? You're on mute. Just so you know. There you go.
Yeah, I'll stay on mute. Thanks.
Alderman Miller?
I think it's great that we can get the project done in pieces. I think that doesn't deplete the TIF fund and gives business owners the opportunity to get excited and do buy-ins. When they see, they get real excited and want to know when theirs is coming. So I love it. As one of those old time Riverside Drive property owners, I think, Sean, stop laughing. I love the Riverwalk, and I think we've underutilized our river frontage forever. So this is good news to me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think we got the idea where we need to go, John. So we'll bring this back for a motion to the city council at our next meeting.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, John. Appreciate all you do. All right, next item on the agenda is 2021 property tax levy. Director Moorfield and Director Lynch. I don't
It's
know.
okay. I'll be a director.
Derek,
tonight. Sorry.
oh, did I say direct? City administrator.
Nah,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I'll give up mine for you, Derek. You can have mine.
That's not that big a deal. I appreciate it. I'll start this conversation, and Carolyn can certainly participate in it as the finance director. It's that time of the year again, where council provides some direction to staff to come to bring back before you in terms of a resolution, an amount for the property tax levy for next year's budget. And typically the way that happens is even though the city doesn't have to, because of our home rule status, doesn't have to have a public hearing for this, we've always done it. We've done the resolution, and we have a public hearing, which would be actually done on November 15th in this case. And at the end of the day, we have to, I'm sorry, the public hearing is the 15th, right, Carolyn? Sorry about that.
So we'll set the dollar amount on the 15th,
right,
and then have the public hearing in December.
On the 20th, right, to be able to get to the county by the 28th, which is the last Tuesday of the month. And as council knows, we do have that public hearing every year, and we will continue to do so. And as a reminder for the council on the meeting and any public that are here also, despite the fact that the city is no longer subject to PTEL, again, because of home rule status, we have designed our presentations based on PTEL for the past number of years, and we'll continue to do so. So with that kind of as the basis, I'll cut to the chase, and then I want to kind of backfill some information for council, because I think that we're at a point where this is part of a bigger discussion than just property tax levy. And I just want to point that out as council provides some direction here to staff tonight. Staff is actually, I'll start with the recommendation. We're actually recommending an increase in the property tax levy to the amount of $4,728,360, which is an increase of $109,574 over this year. Basically what that results in is an increase to the city's portion of a tax bill of a $200,000 home of $2.68. That's $2.68. And for a $250,000 home, that's $3.35. That's $2.68 and $3.35 a year for the city's portion of a property tax bill. And while you could say, well, that's only $109,500, and we can certainly do without that. As a reminder, we've had our property tax levy frozen since 2010. We actually reduced the property tax levy by 3% in 2016. And as we know, that's compounded over time. And in most cases, other taxing bodies have increased their levies, and any amounts that would have been saved due to the city's reduction in the property tax bill has certainly been consumed by other taxing bodies. So I always like to remind people when we talk about property taxes, please take a look at your property tax bill and see where the largest percentages go compared to what percentage comes to the city of McHenry. And the supplement for tonight, we added into that a chart that shows all of the general fund revenues for the city of McHenry. And again, as a reminder, and it's sometimes interesting to look at this, that there's really three big sources or four big sources if you break out sales tax that provides the majority of funding for the general fund. And the general fund basically funds all operating costs and capital asset and maintenance costs for every department except for water sewer, divisions of public works, and the recreation center. Everything else, police, admin, finance, community development, all other departments are funded through general fund revenues. And when you look at the big four, property taxes, sales tax, local sales tax, and state income tax, really the city only controls two of those in terms of being able to make decisions on how to adjust those. And that's the property tax and local sales tax. State sales tax obviously is set by the state, and state income tax is dependent on a population-based revenues that the city gets as pass-through revenues from the state of Illinois. So when you look at the two rows of property tax and local sales tax, those represent 31, we'll call it 32%. Those two revenue sources represent 32% of all general fund revenues, and that's what we have some ability to adjust without introducing new revenues into the general fund or new sources of revenues into the general fund. And so I just wanted to point that out as a snapshot of the bigger picture of the pie, that while it's only $109,000 or $109,500 from this year to next year, that compounded, that's been millions of dollars over the last 10 years that has not gone to the general fund. And while I've been a supporter of that over the last 10 years, and even a supporter of the reduction, just to give you some idea of where we're at and what we've foregone, and to say quite honestly that where we're at from a city standpoint, we've made adjustments to funding for things like the road program. And we're confident now that moving forward, we can have a very strong and well-funded local street program for many years to come. Council just made decisions tonight on the water sewer fund. And with those decisions, while difficult decisions, I get it, difficult decisions to make, that will be set from a capital asset and maintenance standpoint in the water sewer fund for many years to come. And now we turn our attention to the general fund. And the fact is that we have capital asset maintenance and replacement needs in the general fund in terms of buildings, equipment, again, those things that are typically funded through the general fund. And as I identified in the supplement, we'll be coming back to council with a bigger discussion of a community investment plan in November, which really identifies, similar to what we did in the water sewer fund, identifies those capital maintenance and replacement items that we've projected out for the next 20 years that need to be funded out of the general fund. And I guess in closing, all I would say is this, that when I came to the city 10 years ago, one of the things that I heard from all the aldermen at the time, and I know is important to all the aldermen and the mayor now, was that they wanted someone that would make sure that the city's finances would be solvent and that they could be strengthened. And I think that over the last 10 years that we've worked together to be able to do that, to be able to rebuild the general fund so that we have a 120-day emergency fund balance. Yes, it's dipped in some cases, but we've always been able to be budget conservatively to bring that back. That we've presented and passed, you passed as a council, a balanced operating budget every year out of the general fund, and really all funds, a balanced operating budget in all funds. That we've been able to undertake some major projects together with the recreation center, with the central wastewater treatment plant. We've smaller projects like the boat ramp down here at Miller Riverfront Park. But we've together been able to make some sound financial decisions to get things done. we just weathered the storm of a pandemic together. And with the trust of you as council, we as the staff were able to, again, make decisions on it, literally sometimes on a day-to-day basis, to make sure that our city finances would end in a strong position and not put the city too far behind, which we're not. And so I hope that through demonstrating over the last 10 years, or at least the last many years since we've been in a strong financial position, that these recommendations would not be, they're not easy, but these recommendations would not come before council if we did not see the need as a staff to bring them before you. And I would just ask that you, as elected officials, and again, while I know it's difficult decisions to deal with taxes or talk about taxes, to know that we would not make these recommendations of you or to you and decisions of you if we didn't see the need as staff and want to position, more importantly, or most importantly, want to position the city to be in a strong stance in the coming years to be able to address not only operational needs, but capital asset management, replacement and maintenance items. So with that, I'll go back to kind of the beginning, and that is that staff's recommending an increase on the property tax levy to $4,728,360. And if council provides that direction to us, and we'll prepare the appropriate documentation to bring back before council for public hearing to be able to move that on to the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. So any input by council, any direction? I can call on you individually, or you can go ahead and raise your hand. Alderwoman Miller.
So thank you for the presentation, Administrator. As obviously a real estate professional, understanding EAVs and extensions are probably one of the most complicated things that people don't follow through, and particularly our consumers. But you've done a great job presenting it. And again, I think we should follow the recommendation of the professionals that we hire to do the job. So if this is what Derek and Carolyn say we need to prepare our documents on, that's what we prepare them on. So thank you for the presentation. Easy to follow.
Thank you, Sue. Alderman Strack.
Thank you, Sue.
Echo Alderwoman Miller's comments. I mean, as much as no one likes to have this conversation, it's required. We're to a point where it's been cut to as tightly done as we can over these years. And at some point it's going to need to shift. And just like we've been talking about with infrastructure items, that they're not going away. So I still feel that what they've proposed is, you know, I always feel like, is it enough? Because it doesn't really sound like a lot. You don't want to be overextending the increase, but it certainly seems small for the taking for what we're talking about. So I would highly recommend moving forward with that as well.
Thank you, Sean. Alderman Devine.
I would agree with the other two, Alderwoman Miller and Alderman Strack. $2.68 for a home valued at $200,000 and $3.35 for a home valued at $250,000. We haven't raised the levy in 10 years. I can support this.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yeah, I agree with what I hear so far. You know, $3, and that's a total tax bill for the year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
That's all I gotta say.
All right. Thank you. Alderman Harding.
Yeah, I support it also. I think, you know, 268 is nominal to get to the goals that the staff thinks we need to get to. So I am in favor of this.
Thank you. Alderman Glad.
Yeah, I can't support it. For $109,000, I'd rather stay flat like we have been. I think we've shown that staying flat. We've been able to sustain a lot of different things. And once you start with an increase the following year, year after, it's going to be another increase and another increase. I think it's a lot of us have been able to hold our heads up high over the years, even staff, as far as the fact that we've got done what we've got done, keeping everything flat the way we have. And I just support staying flat with the as far as the tax levy.
$3.
Alderman Santee?
Thank you, Mayor. For 10 years, we've stayed flat, and it's been a tremendous tremendous job by staff and by the elected officials, because it's not an easy it's not an easy task to hold it down and be able to support your community and take care of your services. Property tax, when you say that, it does have a certain I guess negative connotation to it, where people are just immediately against it. And I think two key things that can be done here is that we can communicate and educate. And that's the way you can be able to get constituents to understand the process of making a move like this and going forward with this. I guess the one question I have, I am open to this. I do have a question in regards to if in fact something like this property tax goes into effect. In essence, it would be approximately those numbers per year, correct? And then those numbers per year would bring in that additional funds every year into the general fund of, did you say 190 or close to 200,000, Derek?
109. Go ahead, Carol.
I'm sorry, 109.
Yeah, it's $3 per year for a home at 250,000 value.
Okay. And approximately 110 will come in to general funds. And we would not be placing this into any particular hole in a budget or anything. It's not going to go to one department. It's not going to go to salaries. It's just general fund, correct?
Yeah, well, so I'll be more blunt since we've kind of talked about it, right? So the chart in your supplement, that's the general fund revenues, all that money is one pot of money. And that money goes to operating costs. And typically what we do every year, what we have done every year, is we budget revenues extremely conservatively, and we budget expenditures extremely conservatively. And if revenues outpace expenditures each year, then whatever is a surplus revenue goes into, we put towards capital improvements. Early on, it went towards rebuilding the fund balance, and then it went towards capital maintenance and replacement items. And the part of the discussion that you're going to hear that I alluded to, or I think I said it pretty bluntly in the supplement, is that at some point between existing operating costs and future or identified capital maintenance and replacement costs, revenue expenditures will at some point outpace revenues as they exist today, until we start making decisions about either new revenue sources or adjusting existing revenue sources. That's why we had the discussion about the water sewer base fees, and why we will have a discussion about general fund projects also, is that the fact is that forget new projects, that the city has capital maintenance and replacement costs that we will incur over a period of time, that yes, we've been able to budget to have surplus funds to pay for those up to this point. but at some point, a combination of increasing operating costs because they're operating costs and they increase, and replacement and maintenance items will outpace revenues. And this is one opportunity that we have to make an adjustment. While a small one, it's still an adjustment to a revenue stream that's one of a major, it makes up 20% of general fund revenues, to be able to bring in an additional $109,500. So to answer your question directly, Alderman Santee, it may go to operating costs, it may go to capital replacement, maintenance costs, but it goes into the general fund, and whatever we budget out of the general fund is what it goes for.
Yeah, okay, exactly. I just want to make sure it was a general fund budgeting item that would be then determined through staff, and then depending on where the expenditure goes through council also.
Yeah, you'll see it in general fund revenues as
Yes.
part of the budget. You'll see it in that line item as part of revenues, as part of the budget process.
Okay. No, I thank you. And yes, it's been, I appreciate everything that staff's done over 10 years. I see what we're looking at, and what, like I said, I mean, it is definitely a small amount of money, but when you bring up the evil two-word statement of property tax, in my book, and the way I would present it to constituents is communicating and educating. And I think that would, look, no one wants to feel a pain or discomfort, but I think if you explain it correctly and make them understand, and I've carried, I virtually have carried the pie chart and shown the percentages to people.
Yeah.
And that's, you've got to do it. I mean, you just can't, you got to show it. And I think that's one of the ways of educating. And I appreciate all the work, and especially you, Derek, and Carolyn, you too. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I mean, it shows. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, council, for the direction. Derek will go ahead and put that together for the next meeting. All right. Perfect. Thank you. At this time, we're going to be going into executive session to discuss the purpose of lease of real estate property for use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, and for litigation when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent. So at this time, asking for a motion to enter executive session, and a second. The public that is on here now, you will be put into a separate room, and then we'll go ahead and let you back in once we're done with the executive session. I am looking for a motion. Alderman Santee?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Alderman Strack for a second.
Yes, second.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Thank you, council. All right, Monty, if you want to go ahead and put them in the room, and we'll go ahead and do roll call. Tricia, at your convenience, go ahead and do roll call, please.
Alderman,
All right.
Go ahead, Tricia.
Okay, Alderman Santee,
Here.
Alderman Glad,
Here.
Alderman McClatchy,
Here.
Alderman Harding,
Here.
Alderman Strack,
Here.
Alderman Devine,
Here.
Alderwoman Miller.
Here.
Thank you. Staff reports. Is there any additional staff reports for this evening?
No, just about so I'll say I wrote it on yours, Mayor, but I had a
You
note
did,
on
yeah.
mine too. So next Tuesday, the 26th, we have a special city council meeting scheduled at 6 o'clock. We're gonna go live starting next week and then continue live. But the meeting for next week is, and why it's a special meeting, is to have a presentation from Lindmark Group, who was the respondent to the proposal for the central wastewater treatment plant site. And they've made it through the vetting process of the project evaluation committee. And we've invited them to present before council, and think it's big enough for a focused enough discussion that it needs to be a special meeting. So they will be in person to have that presentation to council and to provide council an opportunity to ask them any questions about their project. And the outcome of that will be no vote, just direction from council on whether you want us to continue and have a discussion with them to put together a redevelopment agreement as a developer of record, or if you're not interested, to tell us you're not interested and we go back to the drawing board for it. But anyway, they'll be in the council chambers for a public meeting next, special council meeting next Tuesday, the 26th at 6 p.m.
I won't be able to make it by 6, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'll try, but I'm not sure if I'll get there by 6. It might be 6:15, 6:30.
Okay.
That's going to be live meeting, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So any council members that were not able to make it, what was it, Saturday? I know a few made it, Alderman
Some of us
Strack.
didn't get invites.
Huh?
Some of us didn't get invites. Some of us
Yeah,
got.
there's 2 emails that were sent out over the last 2 weeks with the information.
I only received one. I went through all my emails to see, because I figured I missed it when I saw the reminder, and I talked to a couple other aldermen that said that they don't remember ever getting one either. So it might have gone out to some, but it didn't go out to everybody.
Did anyone not get the invite?
The original?
I asked, Derek resent it to me. I did receive the second one. I didn't check, I'll be honest with you, I did not check junk mail. So I don't know if it got stored in there for one reason or another, but I did receive the second one as a reminder on Monday.
It's the first I ever got.
But anyway, so if you did not have the opportunity to go there, I would highly suggest making a run out there. Alderman Devine and Alderman Strack, it's first class, honestly. It's amazing. So if you would like, I can certainly go out there with you if you'd like. But reach out and we can set up a meeting for you guys to go out there. You can just show up if you'd like as well and act like you're just taking a look at the facility. They'll do a walkthrough with you. They have some vacancy. I will tell you, they'll give you this information, but they're 98% occupied. The vision that they have in the town and how they're involved is crazy. So, but yeah, pretty exciting. So if you'd like to take a visit out there, let me know or let staff know, and we can certainly set that up. Mayor's report, I have nothing. City council comments? Alderman Miller?
So in my mail and on my fence, I received a Cooney Heights protest about the apartment building coming. So, hey, Ross got one too. So just FYI, a group of my residents, who many of them have reached out to me, are planning on attending planning and zoning meeting via Zoom, and they have all the Zoom information, as well as any subsequent meetings if it survives planning and zoning. In conversations, it really still is about parking and traffic. Most of the conversations that I've had have not been about the buildings, the number. It's really cars, parking, traffic. So I don't know how to convey that any stronger over to P&Z. And we just have, I thought this was a very interesting, Cooney Heights United thing. I give them all the credit in the world. They say, or they claim, that we have twice protested proposals and defeated them in their letter. So FYI.
Thank you, sir. Any other city council comments? See none? All right, looking for a motion and a second to adjourn. Alderman Santee?
I'll make that motion.
Alderman Strack?
Second.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Thank you, staff. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night.